Hello, video request. Here's one from Andy Sullivan. He gives me a lot of requests. There he is. What's up, dog? Hi, how are you, Kyle? Next video request. Imagine if prostitution was legal all the way around the world. Currently legal in Amsterdam and Melbourne, I heard. What do you think about that, and why is that? Thanks, and have a nice day. Why is prostitution legal in Amsterdam and Melbourne? I think it's legal in those places because Australia is back when they started Australia as a penal colony back in I think it was the late 1700s or something like that. They were bringing all of the criminals to Australia to populate Australia, and when you listen to the Australian accent, "Oh, I'm from Australia. You know, I'm from Melbourne." You know how they talk like that? It's really similar to it reminds me of the Cockney accent. I'm from East London. So it's kind of a derivative of the poor man's English accent from a couple hundred years ago. I heard 10% of current Australians are actually directly descendants of criminals, the criminals they brought over. So, and some of the criminals they brought over were prostitutes, because that was becoming a plague back in those days, or in a lot of the days when they were. I don't know when they stopped bringing the criminals over, but prostitution was a plague during the Industrial Revolution. Early Industrial Revolution. There were 100,000 prostitutes in London, so I'm sure they scooped a bunch of those skanky whores up and shot them over to Australia. And I heard Australians are really loose, like Australian chicks. They're really fuckable. I went to Australia, but I didn't really see any of that. But I did go to Sydney, and there's so much homosexuality in Sydney. It blew me away. It's like San Francisco, man. So that's probably one reason. It just carries over that culture of prostitution. And that's why it's legal in Melbourne. Marijuana was also pretty much legal in Sydney. I went into a coffee shop with some Japanese dude because I heard that they'd sell you weed. And I went to the coffee shop and I ordered a coffee. And I'm like, yeah, bring me some weed too. And they brought me some weed. It was pretty awesome. Okay. So let's see. And why is it legal in Amsterdam? The Netherlands is a really progressive place, man. And it's been progressive for a long time, dude. You can trace histories of places down to the beginning of history. And legacies just carry on from the very beginning. The Dutch, from the very, 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 very beginning, were very independent. It's called the Netherlands. I think that's maybe Dutch for the Low Countries, because they're also called the Low Countries because they're a very low, swampy area, and the ocean was always pouring in, and so the people who lived there were the swamp people, who just lived in small bands, just didn't even farm. They were total barbarians. They ate quail eggs and fish. That's why they got so big. And then even after that, they were a confederation of countries, confederation of low countries. So they had all these different counties that were kind of united, and so they were very independently minded. And then in the Renaissance and the Enlightenment, they were all artists, and artists are very independent minded, and so now they have a country that just believes in just freedom for the individual, independent-minded people, stretching back all the way to the times of the swamp people. So when you're independent-minded, you make stuff legal. You make marijuana legal, magic mushrooms legal, prostitution legal, all that cool stuff, man. Maybe they're just generally hornier than other people too, because they've always been more lively. With the big high protein diets, running around, exercising a lot, and being independent. Back in the ancient world, when I read the Gallic Wars from Julius Caesar, he would always compare people who lived in tribal bands where they didn't have to live in a house or farm and listen to anybody, as that would foster physical strength, physical fitness, and mental strength. So yeah. So that's why it's in those places. So imagine if prostitution was legal all the way around the world. What do you think about that? Okay. So what would it be like with prostitution legal all the way around the world? Well, prostitution will be legal pretty soon all the way around the world. Just like marijuana is becoming legal really fast. In 5 years, it'll be legal all over America, and in 10 years, all over the world. Same thing with prostitution. They're going to have prostitution bills coming up in the next election cycle in 2 years, in at least a couple of states. And in 5 years, it'll be legal in the first place in America. It's legal in one place in like Pahrump, Nevada, but I think the ladies charge like $600 or something like that. I saw in the Young Turks a couple of weeks ago that there are like tons of brothels in Germany, and like 25% of the men do screw prostitutes in Germany. When I was in Amsterdam, in like April of 2010 for like 5 days, and then for like 6 days in September of 2010, and I had sex with a prostitute, really hot, super hot girl, like unbelievably hot. Dutch girl from Holland, the southern part of Dutch. 50 euros, which is like $65 or something, 60 or $75. And, she was friendly and everything. She had her bra on though, and I was like, ooh, let me see your boobies bra. And she's like, 10 euros per titty. I was like, oh. Because they all charge exactly the same, but what you get is different. So, that's like the sliding scale. They all charge the same, but some of them will just screw you for 10 minutes, and the other ones will do whatever you want. So, but anyways, I was talking about that with some like Norwegian guys, and they said that, and when I was hanging out in Athens, and they said that they did it too. So, and I don't know if I mentioned that 25% of dudes in Germany do. So it's like people sexually are a lot more liberal and less like freaked out about that kind of stuff in Europe than they are in America. Americans are fucking like crazy prudent when it comes to sexuality. My brother did couch surfing, and he went to some big park, because he couch surfed with some German girl, and there's an American girl couch surfing there too. And he said the girl took all of her clothes off at some public park, and my brother did too, and the American girl didn't, and she was all like freaked out like this. I was in a hostel in Poland, Warsaw, Poland, and like all morning there was this dreadlock French girl in the hostel, like in the big hostel room with all these guys like topless, and yeah, it's just not. Americans are totally conservative with that, because we're descendants of the Puritans, who were the first people who started America, who wanted to come over and in like the early 1600s and start their own religion. And they made all these bizarre religions, like the Shakers, where the men and the women, when they go to church, they have to be on opposite sides of the church, and when they walk down the street, they have to make sure that they pass each other on opposite sides, and they only have sex to have babies, and because they thought that sex was like some lustful devil act. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff about the Puritans and the austerity of Americans, and religious fortitude. Americans love their God, and I love my God, and church and all that kind of stuff. But they take it like one step too far with the whole anti-sexual stuff, and then America became a big power in the world, so they probably spread some of that idea around. But Europeans aren't so much like that. But Americans will catch up, dude. Like, they're starting to have like topless. Barton Springs in Austin is now, every day you go down there, you'll see a topless woman down there, and but yeah, well, women do not get their tits out in America like they do in Europe. That's for damn sure. Um, so yeah, I think it'll be legal. Now, what it'll be like when it's legal? Well, I heard in Germany, women were charging as little as like $8 to have sex, and that's like in Germany. So like, if it's legal, then more and more women will do it, and more, and then it'll cost less and less, and then they won't. I don't think they'll have pimps. You'll just go into like the brothel, or maybe even it'll be one step farther, and it'll be just like women will just pull out their card, or some girl in college will be like, oh yeah, I'm a freelance prostitute. I'll do you for $20. Oh really? Oh okay. I was in Las Vegas, hanging out at this coffee shop, and they got stoned with these kids. And one of the dudes was a native of Las Vegas, and his mom was a teacher in Las Vegas in a junior high. And he said that his mom told him that all the kids there, like these are like seventh and eighth graders, dude. Six, seven, and eighth graders, I think, is middle school. And like all the girls had all these different like colored bracelets on their arms, and the colors of the bracelets meant what they would do, what sexual things they would do for money with the boys. And they would do anything. Like there was sex, there was oral sex, there was making out and everything. And they would all go into the bathroom, and it was just like there was this big problem that the teachers were always trying to like bust the kids and find them and stuff, and it was just like bizarre, dude. I did a video a couple of years ago talking about something along these lines, and yeah, I think women in the future are gonna get pretty loose, man. Once they figure out the whole, STD thing, women will probably, because women are pretty much prostitutes anyways. I mean, women get married to dudes so they don't have to work, and most of the time, I heard on the Young Turks that like 45% of the households, the woman is the primary breadwinner. I find that extremely hard to believe, but yeah, I can't believe that. I mean, from what I see, like women just, like my wife, she didn't work for like 4 years when I was with her, and so it's like what is a prostitute? What's the I mean, if guys, when men take women out to eat, to dinner and stuff, and they ask them out, they pay for the dinner, and then they pay for another dinner, and then after 5 dates or whatever, where the guy pays for everything, then the woman has sex, and that's pretty much prostitution. So it's like what is prostitution? So I think in the future it'll just be a lot more cut and dry. It'll be like, yo baby, you hot, I want to fuck you. Oh yeah, you do? All right, $50. Oh, awesome, man, wicked. And then there you go, and it's over. Transparency. So that's probably what it'll be like in the future, and it probably won't even be like regulated or have special laws. It'll just be straight up legal, because this whole exchange of money, if you exchange the money and then they arrest everybody's stuff, it's just, god damn, dude. It's a victimless crime. It's two consenting adults, and then they throw them in jail, and we spend all the money on that. And then we got criminals out there running the streets, and then letting criminals out who like rape people and, attack people and rob people. And then we're throwing all of these like dudes who hire prostitutes in jail, and throwing, we have like 500,000 people on drugs in jail and prison. It's ridiculous. The America incarcerates way more people per capita than any other country. We need to chill the fuck out and put criminals in there, man. So anyways, that's probably what it'll be like in the future. All right, peace out.